Hi, this is Garnet, and this is the first video in this particular video portal. And the website, it's new for me, new for you. There are two video portals, you're probably aware. This is the second one, or the other one. Why I have two is maybe kind of even hinted at in the name of the website, The Art and Science of Consciousness. Uh, this one, I guess, is more like the science side, and the other is more like the art. I would say the other is kind of more personal and impulsive, and this one is a little more planned, maybe, on a topic. In this one, I'd like to look at different current research topics and as well as going deeper into one of the many papers that I've personally written. So to launch this one, something was on my mind this morning. It's quite early in the morning here. I'm in Chiang Mai, Thailand, in case you don't know. And I think the point that I wanted to present at this stage is something that has I think, a very strong parallel in both spiritual side, science side of things. So I'll call it the two phases, one and two. With the NeuroVIZR, I have what we have is a premise. We call it brain prime with a P like Peter, and brain time, a T like Tom. Brain prime, brain time. The idea there is that the light and sound experience is the brain priming. It's the stimulation, excitation, the triggering of a process. It's easy to think that when the light and sound end, that's the end of the experience, and that's not accurate, which is what I wanted to talk about. When the light and sound end, another critically important phase begins, and the brain time. I'll use a quick analogy. I think it's easier to understand. The light and sound is like eating a meal. It's delicious, it's sensual, there's a lot of excitement, well, maybe, stimulation at least, even satisfaction. When we finish eating, in the analogy, when we finish eating, we start digesting. And the brain prime is like eating the food. The brain time is like digestion. In the psychedelic community, there's an awful lot of talk, correctly, about the integration that needs to follow the trip, the excitation of the psychedelic compound. So even now, I'm not saying the neurology is exactly the same, but I'm sure it's quite similar. It has a similar purpose, regardless of the exact mechanisms. This idea of a two-phase process. In meditation traditions, whether it's in Buddhism, a very conservative Pali Theravada style, or even in the expanded Buddhist evolution, where we have Tantra practices, whether Hindu Tantra or Tibetan Tantra, a mix of these things. And in other traditions too, maybe not quite as evidently, you have two phases, the shamatha and the vipassana. What's that? Kind of the idea that first there has to be an involvement of the mind, a concentration process. And as that skill develops, then another one is possible, the concentration, but then what we'll usually call insight, where there is an ability effortlessly to maintain a state of awareness. Very, that's pretty simplistic, but the idea that there's a this and a that, there's a trip, there's integration. In the NeuroVIZRs, the light, and then there is, what's the second stage? This is technically a stage of increased or hyperplasticity. What does that mean? Hyperplasticity essentially means a period of time. It's called a critical window, a period of time when the brain is more sensitive to information and can utilize that information to seek new patterns, what we could call learning. So when the light and sound end, something begins. My advice is just stay there. Keep your eyes closed. Don't go from interoception, internal sensing, to exteroception, where you derive your attention openly into the senses. So what do? Simply feel what you feel and follow those feelings. We know now that there's a tremendous amount of information flowing up from the soma into the brain. It isn't just that the brain is telling the body what to do. That's not correct. So this information is always there. Usually we're not much aware of it unless we have some kind of strong feeling of pain or pleasure, but the information is there. This is at the core of processes like yoga nidra, where you go into a deep conscious relaxation and feel, be aware, or an autogenic training or body scanning technique. So feel what you feel and critically follow the feeling. I describe it like a hand reaching out in the dark in a room where you just hold the hand and the hand guides you. Follow the hand. This is the potent stage of what I would call another pairing, where the light and sound would be the lesson, and then the period after the learning of the lesson. So eat, digest, lesson, learn, absorbed in concentration, and then open to sensation and information. It's this dual aspect. And I think it's easy to get it's easily understood to get excited about the light and sound. It's remarkable, and it can be quite engaging, quite profound. That's good. However, what that does is it sets something in motion. And that hyperplastic period, that brain time, following brain prime, that brain time can easily last 10, 15, 20 minutes, even an hour, and sometimes even more than that, a sensitized state. So I'm encouraging everyone to appreciate that on the science side, and also evident in spiritual traditions, there is this appreciation. Maybe it's a kind of like an inhale, exhale. I'm reaching there. But the idea is that there are two phases going on: brain prime, brain time, the concentrated experience followed by that opening. Maybe you could think of it like this, that first everything comes to a point, and once you're at that point, then everything can open. So please, for a NeuroVIZR session, and maybe even in meditative practices or psychedelic experiences or just life, watch and see how these two phases, maybe a kind of a yin and yang to stretch the image. The last thing I'll leave you with is a kind of a gross thought. It's a bit extreme, but to just do a NeuroVIZR session and then immediately go out and try to externalize what's going on could be like eating food, a delicious meal, and then when you're finished eating, turning to the side and vomit. Meaning, okay, it's kind of gross, but the idea is the experience has the excitation and then the integration element. That forms a NeuroVIZR session. Thanks very much. So go back and forth if you want. The other video portal is kind of more personal, more of the art, whatever. And the second, meaning this one, is more of the science. And I thought I'd do this as like a hello. This is the first one. It's early morning here in Thailand, and other videos will follow. Thank you.